Happy Halloween 2020, YouTube subscribers and friends and likes. Grant coming back. I'm just giving you an update. I'm in Edinburg, Texas. There's a Highway 2, they call it, that is 80 miles to South Padre Island. That's the only other thing I'm planning on doing for my birthday. We'll be going out to that island, but otherwise I'll be around Edinburg, Texas area. It's kind of a nice big city. It's got 3 or 4 Walmarts. A bunch of different suburbs of different town name suburbs in it, and a bunch of different hotels and stuff like that I can stay at. Mostly I'm staying at hotels and Walmarts and places where transients are most likely to stay, so that I have less of a problem with the van color. I'm gonna eventually color the van like a darker blue tan color, like the inside of the windows here. Like I've said 3 or 4 times, I just haven't done it yet. About $100 worth of supplies. I get around to it, and I'm going to scrape off the outside window, so when I come back to regular black window, hopefully it will look a little more normal. In Miles City, Montana, I did that on purpose to get the surrounding community to call the cops, so that the cops continuously got harassed, because a long time ago, the big story was I have a runaway 15-year-old from Billings, Montana, ran away to Miles City, and friends of friends named My House is the place that she stayed, so that she could go to some other drug house and get high and do what they wanted to do, and then the cops would be looking for her across town. Well, the cops harassed the hell out of me that week while that happened, trying to find her. Into the whole story, I found her in one of the drug houses, dragged her out front, called 911 and told them to come get her, because I was so tired of them harassing me. So I ended up this year around, I wish I'd have thought about it years ago, but I ended up this year around going back up to Miles City and painting the van white on purpose, so that I could take my turn at harassing them. And it worked out great while I was up there. They were up to 5 calls a day. It was funny as hell. Now down here is a different story. Down here there's the possibility of getting a ticket for what they call a second offense of covering your windows up. It's not a first offense. They have to find something like speeding to get you for first before they can get you for the windows. And I have had numerous, I wouldn't say direct encounters with law enforcement, but I've had, done the 4 or 5 states to come down here, every single state I've had 2 or 3 cops come up and check me and check the plate and leave. And the whole situation I'll show you. With the windows like this, automatically screams, you know, to the layman person that I'm all somewhat up to no good or something, that it might be illegal. And technically speaking, in Texas anyway, it is illegal on the second offense. Like I was saying, you have to have speeding for, or get caught for speeding or something else, traffic offense, before they can actually get you for that. But so the cops come flying up to me trying to get me for something else, speeding, etc., and then they see this, which is my custom POW missing in action plates that I got from Montana, paying an extra $10 extra, and the 2Y2M, which stands for phonetic alphabet for too young to marry, when they call it on the radio. And when the cops see that, they back off. So it goes from tweaker van to this guy must have law enforcement experience, and they back off. And that's what's been happening coming to 4 or 5 states down here. They come up, they check me out, and they leave. Those plates have saved a lot of interaction. Thank God. As, you know, Kansas may or may not have been worse than that, and I knew that coming down south, that there was a chance that having the windows covered was going to end up with a potential ticket, etc. And I want to make it a little less obvious, because if the van were to hold out, I'm going to spend the first part of winter in Texas until the end of 2020. You know how horrible 2020 has been with COVID, etc. So I'm just going to stay put in this area, hopefully. And then if she's still running good at the start of 2021, I'm going to start heading west along the border. Basically, the road is along Trump's border wall. And the problem with that is Border Patrol has the exception. They can pull you over and then ask you to see what's inside. They wouldn't give you a ticket, they said, but they can pull you over anytime they want to, ask and see. And obviously, if I'm going along that Border Patrol wall, you know, I might want to do something ahead of time. So I'm looking into that. And obviously that would mean I'm going out west. I would passed through Arizona over to Southern California, and again, I'm a little more worried about Southern California than even Texas. Anything suspicious, anything, you know, CHP is pretty damn good at picking on every vehicle they see on the interstate, from what I've heard and seen and experienced myself when I was out hitchhiking. So I'm definitely going to make sure the windows are at least blacked out, you know, by then. But for now, I'm going to try and scrape the back window off. Might even scrape the inside of the back window off so that you can see all the way through it when I'm driving, which might be enough around Texas to give them the, say, the hell with it. And not pick on the sides too much, I don't know. But either way, I'm going to paint that gray and then scrape the windows off. That's my latest update. That's the only real project I'm going to work on the van this winter. In terms of the water pump, a friend of mine told me there's a head gasket, lower end head gasket that's going out, and it's just burning everything off the exhaust, and that is throwing the timing off, and that is what's throwing the water pumps, is burning the water pumps up. And it's just going to continually do that. They're made to do that until you fix both. And I'm not putting the $1,500 or more into fixing the motor and then having another fuel pump on top of it. It'd be good another $2,000 more. It's just not worth it. He said the only other thing you can do is obviously check the fluids. Same thing what I was doing before. Drive 100 miles, pull over and stop for as much time as you drove it. So 100 miles is an hour and a half, give or take. So you pull over for an hour and a half and give yourself a break and give the van a break. And the other problem, or the other thing about that, is this van doesn't have cruise control because of the shifting problems and everything else, transmission issue. I mean, it gets around, but it has that issue, so the computer won't let the cruise come on. So my foot gets pretty tired after that hour and a half anyway. So just like when I brought it brand new, or not brand new, but new to me, over in Detroit and brought it over to Montana, I was doing the same thing. You drive 100 miles and then take a break. So I have to do that when I go west. But for now, I'm going to stay in Texas for 2 more months, and except for a beach trip out to the beach on my birthday, so I can take beach pictures to send everybody at home. Hopefully it'll be snowing at home. Home in Montana, or, South Dakota, and Nebraska, when I take those beach pictures as promised. Outside of that, I'm just going to stay in this little section of 80-mile section of Highway 2, back and forth, and not much else to it in terms of that. Then I'm going to end up, like I said, go out west along the border wall, and then I'm going to hit Southern California and stay there for a little while, obviously watching the weather pattern, until you can go north when it's warmer next spring. And the ideal plan would be to get my passport and everything I would need to go to Alaska for the following summer. And taking that trip would actually, if I'm able to do it, would actually make me cover all 50 states. If I can, and then coming back, I'd like to see a little more of Idaho and Utah. If it's possible. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if this thing's got 8,000 to 10,000 miles left in her. Don't know. But she drove pretty good outside of screwing up the water pump in front. And yes, I know there's a good chance that I'm going to end up burning the engine up and blowing her up. But I'm not going to throw another $2,000 into it. It's just not worth the fix. For $2,000, I could buy something else. So at the moment, I'm about $3,000 into it. I bought it for around $1,000. Put about $2,000 worth of repairs into it at the moment, like the tires and brakes and stuff that needed to have happen. So I'm going to try and drive her till the tires fall off, so to speak, eventually. But that is my plans for the following year, if it works out. And the main reason I'm doing that, outside of trying to finish the 50 states and some van life driving, doing the 50 states, is because, you know, COVID kind of killed expediting, or my version of wanting to go into expediting, because of Roadrunner. You know, 1 trip a week for Roadrunner just was not worth it, and I don't have faith that the industry is busy enough anywhere and it'd be hard to find a carrier. So I'm going to wait another year until this fake COVID is over, which may be in 5 days. It might be when they have the election, who knows. I don't want to make this whole political thing about it. I don't really care who wins. You just pick the worst of, or the better of 2 evils, since they didn't run very good candidates either way, in my opinion. And vote. Get out there and try to help this country along some way or another. That's my latest update. Like and subscribe, leave comments, and we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.